Hello and welcome to Catacris Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.catacris.com. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and we're speaking to Breezy, the bass player from Sygnal to Noise. How you doing today, Breezy?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Jason?
I'm doing great. Now, that's a great place to start off. That's obviously your stage name, Breezy. It's a fun little name. I was interested in how you came up with that.
That's a funny story. Well, it was, I don't know if it's that much of a funny story. One of my previous bands I was in, our guitar player was trying to come up with nicknames for each member.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm gassy or nothing, but
No.
I was like, so what's the name you going to come up with me? And he's like, well, instead of saying Bree, we're just going to say Breezy. And I guess you can just put your own.
Yeah. Well, I asked because it kind of reminds me of, Marilyn Manson, where that band is obviously centered around the singer Marilyn Manson. But I know all the guys that have ever been in the band, they kind of have a persona of their own and a different kind of unique stage name. I mean, that like John Fife, for example. So that's kind of talk about the image of a band. That's something I love too. But I think people will look at pictures of your band and they might immediately think, oh, they're a metal band. But yet you listen to the music and it's a little bit of everything, almost kind of like Queen to me. And I say that because when we hear the name Queen, we think of Bohemian Rhapsody, but then you also think of We Are the Champions and We Will Rock You. We Will Rock You. So it's a little bit of everything, I think, and that's what I dig about this band.
Well, thank you. Queen is one of our favorite bands, or is our favorite band, basically, of all time. So it's a very huge compliment. Thank you.
And to talk about how the band is reaching people, I mean, your latest single, I think has hit like for the song "Let Me In," has hit like 52K views, and that's kind of got a Queen-like vibe to that song, I thought.
Well, yeah, thank you. We're really proud of that song. We're really happy to have recorded it. That one has been on the Billboard chart, so we're really excited and happy about that one. That's the whole album. We love the entire album, so we're hoping that the next single will do as good or surpass it.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about that because I don't think people realize what an accomplishment that I mean, especially for a hard rock band like you guys, because I mean, I think by saying the name Sygnal to Noise, there's a certain of your kind of diehard fans that are aware of the band, of course, but then there's a good portion of the hard rock metal community who've never heard of you guys, and yet you've hit the Billboard 100 chart. I mean, what do you kind of attribute that to? Because that's an amazing feat.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if it's really sunk in yet. It's all surreal. It just happened, and when it did, we're like, what, really? So it took us by surprise, but we was really proud and happy that it had done it. And you touched on what you said earlier. Our image is not quite as, I guess our sound is not as heavy as our image. But yeah. We love it. We have we hopefully have a unique look. We hope that we reach people. It's a lot of fun. It's like I said, it still hasn't hit us yet completely what's going on.
Like as I told you previously, before going on there today, I previously interviewed your singer Koopa, and when I first saw photos of him, I mean his images are quite something to see. He's like his whole face is tattooed. I thought it was makeup, and he's no, those are my tattoos.
His face is all nice and tatted up.
but again, so that's a cool thing. I think people are going to they initially see pictures of the band, they initially go maybe to a concert thinking they're going to get one thing, and then they're quite impressed with what they end up getting, period.
Well, that's usually what happens. We'll go into a venue and get ready to do our performance, and people will see us and they'll be like, oh, these people are getting ready to scream in my face, but then when we get on the stage and we start playing, they're like, oh, this is not what we expected. So, and they're all, pleasantly surprised, and it's kind of our look. We've tried to just make sure that we're comfortable and do what we love to do, and dress how we want to dress, and it just kind of comes across that way. But it's not it's not exactly as heavy as our image.
I mean, and just to kind of take that a little further, I mean, like I said, I was watching the video prepping for today for Let Me In, and it's got a great Queen-like vibe. It sounds like something you'd hear from back in the 70s hard rock heyday. And then I was also listening to the song Neurotic, and that song is quite heavy. It's quite what people might think of the band, just seeing the band's image. And then you got, also I was listening to the song Lonely as the Night. Now that's a lot more pop radio friendly, and I think those three songs there kind of show you at least three different sides to this band.
Exactly. We don't try to put ourselves in the box of trying to write a particular way. We just write what feels good to us and what comes out, and we'll come to rehearsal, and if something comes from it, then great. We'll work on it. If we all love it, that's what gets recorded. It could be faster, it could be slower. Yeah. We have some ballads. We do have a little mixture of all, but that's what we like to do. We think we have a product that from anybody from 13 to 70 would like. We hope so anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I've been digging about the band. I'll tell you, I mean, I grew up in the 70s, 80s. I grew up on a lot of these bands we've been talking about, and that's part of the reason I love it. But like, if you look at a band like Metallica, I mean, if you go back to their first three albums, they were thought of much more of a metal band. I mean, even around the time Master of Puppets came out in 1986, you would never think that Metallica would be played on the radio back then. You never thought they would have like a #1 song on MTV. And when stuff like that, when the Black Album comes out and they do stuff like that, it's like, oh my God, they cut their hair. They're on MTV. They sold out. Well, that's kind of the goal, I think. But I like when bands do that, where you say there's no said box. We're willing to, if somebody's got a good song they bring to the band, we're willing to rehearse it and see how what we can do with it. I dig that.
Oh yeah, we do as well. I mean, you're touching on a lot of our heroes.
Yeah.
We have such a wide variety of different musicians out there in bands that we all just adore, and usually on our playlist on repeat. We love the Metallica, we love the Queen. I mean, there's just so many, and so you can kind of hear a lot of those bands in our style. I mean, because we're gonna. That's what we grew up with. That's what we love to do.
And yet, I think what you guys have been able to accomplish with that is, like I can honestly say, you guys don't sound like a Queen or a Metallica clone band, but you do hear those influences. But that's all right, because you guys have somehow amazingly still managed to create a fresh, kind of original sound for what is Sygnal to Noise.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We hope so. We're hoping that we can touch, lots of people and be able to, affect someone's life, in a positive way. So that's the goal. I mean, that's the goal of any musician, basically, is to be able to touch people and make them feel good about themselves, and of course make them want to come to your shows.
Oh, sure. And I mean, visually, I think that's what the band has going, because again, they used to have this thing back in the 70s where you always hear them talking about sound and vision, and that's kind of like what bands like Kiss used to do too, because visually you go see Kiss and they do something great. They, like Alice Cooper, they put on a great, kind of the ultimate rock show. That's what I like to call it.
Right, I agree.
Whereas if you just go to if you just want to listen to a record, you can do that, but you're going to get a totally different experience, if you go see it live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we try to put on. We like the whole model that Motley Crue did back in the day. They want to be able to do a arena show in a small club, and we try to kind of go off of that a little bit, with our ideas and what we try to do and project. I mean,
and to take that a little further, could you imagine the show you guys could put on if the band was to get in an arena? I mean, just think about that. That's got to be the ultimate goal for you guys.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's everyone's goal. I mean, but we don't necessarily have to have an arena. I mean, don't get me wrong, we would love it, but playing a small show somewhere and being more personal with people and we like that a lot because we get down. You know, we love talking to the fans and love them coming up and talking to us and coming up to the merch table.
Sure.
And, you know, and just learning who the people are. That's what we love to do. We don't try to avoid people in any way. You know, we get off stage. We want to talk to our fans. We want to learn who they are.
Yeah, and that's got to be working for you guys too. You know, and you brought up Motley Crue, one of my all-time favorite bands, because they're obviously influenced, you know, by Kiss and other people I grew up on, and yet Nikki Sixx has always kind of been the brains behind that band. I mean, I heard him talking in an interview once where he's like, okay, you know, when Too Fast for Love came out, people thought we had a great punk edge to what we were doing, and I said, okay, you think that's what Motley Crue is? And then we came out with Shout at the Devil, Went All Black. A lot of people think we were a metal band, and then with Theater Pain we went glam. You know, just when people thought they knew what Motley Crue was, we'd go and change on them.
Yeah. The Motley Crue is one of our all-time favorites as well. You know, there's just so much music out there, and we want to be able to entice people to come back out to the shows and be able to, you know, go to a show. You know, try not to sit home and on your computer or your phone.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I personally had enough of that for the last, you know, almost 3 years.
I think we all have.
In fact, you know, I live in Los Angeles, and it was scary here because we had a governor here where was getting on TV for a while talking about, well, you may never be able to go to, you know, a movie theater again. We may shut down the whole entertainment industry, and something he was bragging about. I'm like, oh, come on, you know. Thank God it did not come to that. But I even seen where bands started, they would do these streaming events, like, okay, we can't do a live concert, but we're going to put on a special event and put it on our website. But then Facebook and places like that started, okay, you want to use our platform for that, then we got to start getting some of the cash, and if we don't, then we're going to shut down your streaming event. So, you know, it's interesting to see what the world was becoming the last 3 years.
But you don't get. Yeah, I mean, I watch a lot of shows like that, but you don't really get the experience.
Yeah, sure.
The experience is missing. You know what I mean? It's like going to a show and you know, buying merch and getting
to meet the band. You're going to meet the band even.
Just different.
I mean, and I totally agree, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is even COVID could not kill our rock and roll, you know, experience. They tried, and somehow rock and roll always wins out, you know. And thank God for that. And you know, we were talking a little bit about Motley Crue, and you know, they have their obvious influences, but a lot of people listening to this, they might think that Helter Skelter, for example, is a Motley Crue song, but it's actually a Beatles song, and that's about as metal as the Beatles ever got. So even the Beatles were kind of doing what you guys are doing. Or you take a band like Queen, and probably as metal as Queen ever got was the song Stone Cold Crazy.
Which was actually covered by
Metallica. Yeah, of course. And that's why they chose that song to cover. Now, we're also talking today, Breezy, because Sygnal Noise is getting ready to kick off 2023 by, you guys were chosen as the opening band, I guess, for Cold's Year of a Spider 20th Anniversary Tour. Talk a little bit about that opportunity, how that came about.
Well, that's a good story. I've talked with the bassist Lindsay off and on throughout the last several years, but when I joined up with Sygnal the Noise, we was chosen to do this tour. Originally we've had a tour that was scheduled and then we got squashed because of COVID. Yeah. But then the last tour that they was going to go on, something happened with they couldn't do it. So we was chosen for this one, and it was ecstatic because the year of the Spider is it's a great album, and we're in its 20th anniversary. And we're excited to be on that. That's kind of like a milestone.
Epic. Yeah.
It's epic, and we start off in March 17th in Syracuse, New York, and we tour up until May the 29th in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, wow.
So I think there's like a total of 54 dates, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it's a great tour when we're not going to have a whole lot of time off, and we love just being busy and being on the road. So for us to be able to share the stage with another one of a great band that we're all like one of our favorites, we're just really super excited about it, and we hope that we get to meet a lot of the fans out there on the road and be able to share that experience with everyone, because it's going to be an experience that nobody wants to miss.
Yeah, and then you guys have been on the road for most of 2022, have you not?
We were. It's not a most of 2022 with some
downtime.
Yeah, we've been on the road somewhat, but not most of the year. We try to take these little one-off little tours and shows and things, and so we have been on the road quite a bit, but not most of the year.
Okay.
But we're proud of the ones that we have done. We tried to kind of cover pretty good grounds throughout the year.
And then I imagine that's part of the reason you're looking so forward to this new tour, because it's been a while since you played out live. So what are you guys doing to prepare for the upcoming tour? Have you been doing much rehearsing, or do you think you'll start doing that after the first of the year?
No, we have. We have a great tour set list all put together that we're going to bring out. That's going to be it's going to have a wide variety of things, songs, tunes that we've actually written. It's going to be really good. It's going to be fun. We've been rehearsing it, like crazy. So we're all excited. We're all ready to do it. It can't come fast enough.
And I know people are still reacting in a real huge positive way to the latest album. And I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but have you guys started writing or even thinking about the next album?
We have. What happened during COVID was we just kind of hunkered down and just started writing. Human Condition, the album Human Condition came out of that, and we're really happy about every song on the album. Yeah. And we still are sitting on another 2 albums worth of material that we've written during COVID. So they're ready to be tracked as soon as we can get back in the studio. But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Oh, of course.
We want to, make sure that Human Condition is out there for everyone to hear, and we don't want to bombard everybody with too many albums.
Yeah.
We do have enough to keep us going for a while, for sure.
That's great to hear. And the Human Condition, I think too. I got to ask, how hard was it? That you guys wrote all that, so much material in that downtime. I mean, even when you were putting this album together, that must have been a real hard thing, deciding, okay, we got 2 or 3 albums worth of material, but what are we gonna? How are we gonna?
That was tricky.
Yeah.
That was a little tricky. We wrote a lot of material, and we picked and choose, and we thought that to us, in all of our opinions, that each song on the album was perfect for that album. It all each song touched on different issues that were going on, in the world, and we feel like we got our point across in a good way.
And as far as the songwriting, does everybody get to contribute, or talk about what that process is like?
Yeah, for the most part, we each had like different ideas for different riffs, different ideas for songs. Coop is basically the mastermind behind every one of the lyrics. He is so talented at coming up with lyrics, coming up with melodies. We would have an idea, and a lot of times he would go home, and he would be either on his toilet or in his bedroom somewhere, and he'd be like, "I've got a good idea," and he'd call me on FaceTime after he got done using the bathroom, of course. He'd be like, "Bree, I got this idea. Let's see if we can work on this." It's like that's how it kind of started.
And I know you guys are from New England, so I was curious, what's the New England music scene like these days?
It's not the same as it is anywhere else, I hope, anyway. We got a pretty good music scene in New England. We have lots of venues that you can play, and a really tight family of musicians. The camaraderie is amazing. We all know each other, and we all kind of feed on each other, and bounce ideas and things. So it's it's really nice. I'm originally from further down south a little bit more than New England, and I know that the music scene in New England is better than where I'm originally from.
And where are you originally from? Georgia or somewhere like that? Atlanta?
Kentucky.
What's that?
Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky. Okay, yeah, I could hear it in your voice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm from the bluegrass state. I love my state, but there's sadly the music scene is not as good as what I would like for it to be.
And so is that what brought you to where you currently are?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. There was an ad posted. A friend of mine that has sadly passed now has he put my name in the hat for it, and I got a phone call, and I was like, I don't know where this band is, and he's like, well, they're in the United States. I was like, okay. So
I can do that.
He sent me to New England, and the rest is history, and we all just fell in love with each other.
And so I take it then you're not an original member.
I'm not. Coop is the original member. The band formed in 2012, late 2012, early 2013. I've been in the band for going on. This February will be 3 years.
So you are you do play on the Human Condition then, right?
I do, yes.
That's cool. And how many albums has the band put out to date? Do you know?
2 full-length albums, 4 total, 2 EPs and 2 full-lengths.
And can people still, if they want to check out the back catalog, can they still get the previous stuff?
Can they still get what?
Like, can they purchase hard copies or physical copies?
Absolutely. We sell all 4 of the albums at every show that we perform at. So to come out to a live show, you can get each one of the albums if you choose to.
And so I imagine that Sygnal Noise has had the opportunity to tour outside of just your local area.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, we've been on several tours. We've played with many bands. This tour that's coming up is going to be across the United States. I don't know if there's not very many states that we're not hitting. So I think that everyone will have an option and to come out and come see us. And
then I was reading that you guys were in 2015 the winner of the best hard rock metal band. That's pretty good honor too.
Great achievement, great accomplishment. It's amazing.
And you guys played Daytona Bike Week and Tattoo Fest. I mean, talk about different types of audiences that you guys are getting to. That's just huge.
It is. It is huge. It's massive. And we have so much fun wherever we go. We have so much fun interacting and we get off the tour bus and we're like, where are we at now? It's like, well, we're in this city, and we're like, okay, well, let's get off and now see if we can, explore the sites. And we meet a lot of nice people, and we've gained so many lifelong friends because of touring. So we're really excited and happy to see what happens on this next one.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'm glad to see that the band's name is getting bigger and bigger and starting to really spread. And I got to thank your previous publicist, Michael Branville, for turning me on to the band, because I mean, if it wasn't for him, I never would have heard of you guys. And even prepping for the interview today, talking to you, Breezy, checking out some more of the band's music videos, I thought, wow, my prediction, at least, one of my predictions for this band is going to get only bigger and bigger. I mean,
thank you.
That's my hope, anyways. And I, talking about the people behind the scenes work with you guys, that often tells you something about a band. I mean, Michael Branville, I mentioned, he's your previous publicist. He's worked with everybody from Kiss and Gene Simmons, Britney Spears, Accept, Wasp, and to have a guy like that working behind the scenes with you guys is great. And I know who you're working with now, Chipster PR. I've been working with them for years, and they've given me a lot of great interviews like this over the years. And Chipster PR, just to give people an idea, another big publicity firm in the rock industry. I mean, you guys share the same publicist as Judas Priest, Carmine Appice, Albert and Joe Bouchard from Blue Oyster Cult. So I think you're in good company with those legendary artists.
Can you imagine? I mean, it's like I said before, it's surreal. I mean, Michael is a great person. We all love Michael. We all love Chip. It's just being in the presence and the circle of people like what who they work with.
Yeah.
It's you like I'm a loss of words, as you can tell. It's crazy.
I mean, you know, Michael Brandville, I gotta say, for anybody who know who he is, you can look him up. But I also urge you to check out. He's got a fun little podcast he does called Three Sides of a Coin. I mean, he's a lifelong Kiss fan, and him and his crew, they've done over like 500 shows talking about anything like Kiss related that they can think of. I mean, that's pretty amazing when you stop and think about it.
It absolutely is. Absolutely.
Yeah, and and then Breezy, last thing I want to ask you about is a little personal stuff about you. Like, I always love to ask people, since you're the bass player of the band, do you remember why you chose the bass as your instrument of choice, or do you feel like it kind of chose you?
I think it chose me. I was in, during my school years, I played guitar, and I never could ever see myself playing anything other than a guitar. Yeah. But I also played saxophone, and I also played drums in a marching band. So I was kind of like versed in a couple of different instruments. But some friends, asked me to play bass in a band way back in the day. I'm not going to age myself, but way back in the day, and I was like, no, I'm not going to play bass because I don't like the bass, and I think it's stupid. Yeah. And but I grew up with bluegrass and gospel, growing up as a young girl back in the day and way out in the country. So there wasn't really bass much in any of the songs that you hear or we even played at a family gathering. So I never really understood the bass. But the first time I put it on and started putting some bass lines to some songs, I fell in love, and I haven't put it down since. I absolutely love it. And so
once you kind of immersed yourself with the bass, who were some of your heroes growing up? Your bass heroes.
Cliff Burton.
Cliff Burton. Wow. Yeah, and what's amazing about that, if you look at Cliff Burton, his legacy is those first 3 Metallica albums. I guess what a legacy to have, and he died tragically young. But the fact that he's been able to kind of have the kind of legacy, the poor man's been dead longer than he was ever alive, but yet with 3 albums, look what he was able to do. All those fans he has worldwide.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he was one of those musicians, along with some other ones, that I just bawled my eyes out whenever he passed. He was definitely one of my heroes, and just somebody I idolized.
Yeah. That's and bass players sometimes, like Nicky Sixx, he's one of my all-time favorites. Gene Simmons, Billy Sheehan, Rudy Sarzo, guys like that, and a lot of
Rudy's awesome. Also, I love Rudy.
Rudy's one of those guys. He can play. He can play with anybody. I mean, Quiet Riot, Whitesnake. He also, I know, for a time was playing with Ozzy, Blue Oyster Cult, I think, even the Guess Who. So he's one of those guys that can do it all.
He is. He definitely is. He's I follow him pretty closely.
And then people think this is a hard rock metal band, but do you feel that you've been able to bring any of that bluegrass kind of influence into the band? Or is that something you like?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so in a way. If you listen to the track Emotionless.
Okay, I'll listen.
It's kind of. It kind of has that little bit of
influence.
Kind of a little bit of feel for it if you think about it.
Wow. Okay. Well, Breezy, we look forward to talking to you again down the line. I'll keep your number so we can do that. But thanks for doing this, and have a real happy rockin' New Year. And did you have a good Christmas?
I did. I'm actually back home in Kentucky now with family. So it's been a great Christmas for me. And Jason, I hope you have a happy New Year, and I hope your Christmas was great.
It was great. I'll let you get back to your family, and thank you for doing this today. The interview we just did, I'm planning to post it in the next week or two. I'll let you know once I have a date for it, and feel free to share it. And we will be talking to you down the line. Thanks again, Breezy.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jason. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Chaotic Riffs Magazine.